Hey everybody, and welcome back to Morgellons discussion and microscopy videos on the road. Although I don't think we're going to do any microscopy videos on the road. I think that would probably be especially dangerous. Yeah, so wanted to give some updates about some things that I've been working on, particularly with the Morgellons cryptocurrency, because tomorrow's going to be the day that I'm going to get that white paper. I've been working on it, and it's basically given me a lot of insight as to what can and what should be done with each of the currencies. By the way, if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. That helps me out so much. I mean, the higher the subscribe count, the more likely YouTube is to recommend the video out. I mean, I think that's true. But I also try to be particularly relevant, especially to the Morgellons condition. So what I'm doing tonight is, or this morning rather, it's 4:48 a.m. I woke up with a bad headache about an hour ago, and like I do sometimes, I got up and drank a cup of coffee, and that really helped alleviate the headache, which makes me think that I'm just taking in too much caffeine, and that would make sense. I just need to limit my caffeine intake. But also, I didn't really have this problem so much before the air conditioner guys came out and cleaned all the mold out of the central air unit. When they did that, those headaches really eased up quite a bit. But what I've been working on with the Ethermorg in particular is that coin is going to be the gamify mechanism, so that there's incentive to share Morgellons science. If somebody shares a Morgellons study and you see that the conversation about it is particularly compelling, you can tip that person some Ethermorg cryptocurrency. It may never be worth anything, but we are planning on having a store set up so that you can redeem those Ethermorgs for actual tangible products. But in the process of developing this white paper, what I realized was that there's definitely a different use case between Morgellons coin and Ethermorg, because I started thinking about voting, using the cryptocurrency for voting, and it quickly became apparent to me that Ethermorg is going to be the crypto that we aren't modifying. We're not trying to pump a lot of monetary value into it. That monetary value may result over time, and because of the actions that, if we're able to accomplish any with the cryptocurrency. But like, for example, with the voting, let's say that on the store, the online store for Ethermorg, we have a poll. Okay, who wants to see, like I don't know, one product or another on the site, which people can use to spend their Ethermorg to purchase. And then you can vote between those by using your Ethermorg. You can, and as many Ethermorg as you want to put into it, that's as many votes as you get. And so the thing is if we let people buy those, if we let people buy the Ethermorg with, actual dollars, then that money isn't necessarily going to go towards Morgellons scientific research, but whoever is holding on to that token, whether it's the individual or an exchange. And so Ether Morg, I wanted to be kind of like Dogecoin and Trollcoin, particularly because those cryptocurrencies, they're not trying to be a currency. They're not trying to be the next dollar. You know, they are what they are. And Trollcoin in particular has a good use case. One thing about Ethermorg with the social tipping is that it affords us the potential to validate an individual's identity, to determine that they're real. Because anybody on the blockchain could be anonymous. And so that's where I really started differentiating Morgellons coin, because that's what I want to tie in with the new Morgellons movement. And no, the new Morgellons movement is not about bashing the other movements or organizations. Basically, we have the same goal. The goal is for better treatment and care for Morgellons patients in an environment that isn't stigmatized or emotionally traumatizing. We've got the same goals. My problem is how we're getting there. You know, personally, I felt marginalized myself, and I've discussed that in some videos, but we have a new Morgellons movement, and people are actually doing stuff with it. I mean, people have actually mailed those greeting cards to the CDC. And thanks, guys, by the way, for doing that. I mean, that helps Morgellons patients. That really does help Morgellons patients. When we can show that, yeah, it's not all about us. But we're all in this together, not just Morgellons patients, but everybody, every human being that's on this planet. We all got to experience life and eventually death. So the Morgellons coin, because its purpose was initially to raise funds for scientific research, there needs to be a monetization of that coin, of that crypto. And so this is where the accountability can come in for the new Morgellons movement, because one of my chief complaints about the old Morgellons movement, and when I say that, I'm regarding to all the bad experiences I had over the years trying to advocate for Morgellons. And it hasn't all been bad. I mean, a lot of the people that I lump in with the old Morgellons movement, I've had genuinely great experiences with. And I hope to have future great experiences with these same individuals. But one of the complaints is that there's no transparency. There's no transparency with the old Morgellons movement. They have these secret groups that people can't see who is inside or what they're saying. So you don't know what they're planning. You don't know what they're doing. And the new Morgellons movement, we're going to be transparent. We're going to decentralize the process and make it publicly available so people can see this is what we're up to. This is the input people are giving about this movement. These are the ideas they're coming up with. And this is how they voted when they decided to execute an action. All right, so I'll give you an example. I did say that we're not going to have a website, but what I was thinking was we're not going to have a secret Facebook group and then a website that the public can see. We're going to have an app. We're going to have an app that anybody can use that's going to result in the actions of the new Morgellons movement. Okay, and so what does that mean? Well, what that means is that you can go to the app on the web browser or download it onto your phone, and it's going to have a registration. So you're going to have to link, you're going to have a Facebook profile or a phone number that's unique to you, some identifying unique, besides an email address, social media, or some way we can validate you as a unique individual. And that will give you access to the app. And inside the app is going to be forum discussion about ideas. Okay, what do we want to do with this opportunity? Now that we've got you in here, now that everybody's together, what can we accomplish? So we're going to have forum discussions, and we're going to have polls so people can vote. But here's the thing. To vote, they have to have a unique identity, and they're going to vote with the Morgellons coin. What that means is issuance. When we have a vote, let's say, for example, we say, okay, our next action as the new Morgellons Movement should be for everybody to write an op-ed for your regional paper or news publication. Everybody should write an op-ed. And so what that means is that people are going to have to learn what the paper's expecting, what the publication, what the criteria is. But we're going to have a poll that says, okay, we should do this, or we should do something completely different. You know, let's say like we have a choice B, which is we should have a drop-in day in Washington, D.C., where Morgellons patients dress up nice. We go down there and we have a lobbying effort. Or C, we just skip this month and concentrate on planning for what we can do next time. We're going to issue one Morgellons coin for each member that signed into that app. And that one coin is going to be the one vote. So it's recorded that that coin, that particular coin, went to that particular individual who is validated through this social medium. This is their unique Facebook page. They are a real individual. There aren't two of them. And this is how they voted. So that you can go back to the poll after it's done and look and see, okay, option B, the drop-in day for lobbying efforts at Washington, D.C., got the most votes, and it was voted on by all of these individuals, and there's our transparency. So everything's out in the open, everything's public, it's not behind a secret group. And I understand the need for wanting to be behind a secret group. I understand the stigma of Morgellons. I mean, I know it's probably easier for me because I don't know. It's definitely not easy all around, Morgellons. But the reputation and the stigma issues are particularly concerning for patients, especially when we're trying to earn a living, you know? I mean, it's hard to go out there and get a job when you have open sores on your body. So, maybe it's not that. I don't know. I think transparency is very important, and I also think that individual presentation is important with the concept of the New Morgellons Movement. I think that individuals should present the science and not behind a single group. I think that is one thing, and I think the science has shown us that that's one thing that does hurt Morgellons patients is when there's not when it looks like the people who are presenting the science are suffering an internet induced delusion, a socially contracted internet induced delusion. It's harder to make that case when these people aren't participating in a private online group. Um, when they're just individuals, maybe they're representing their businesses or their communities, but it's not a Morgellons group. It's something that people without Morgellons can relate to. That's that personal aspect, you know? They can go, oh, wow, that Sam got Morgellons? Holy crap, he's a firefighter just like the rest of us. And then that bridges that gap. That's a little bit more understanding. I gotta get out of here. The train's actually starting to move again, but okay, maybe I'll just stick here for a minute or two. So yeah, I want to be transparent with the New Morgellons Movement. I want people to see who's associated with it and what we're talking about doing with it. I want anybody to be able to scrutinize that. Oh no, God, what are you doing? Why are you pulling up next to me?